Hostabnormal Andy, and Phantom Dark Dave. The Screaming Skull Podcast.
Welcome to the Screaming Skull Podcast, a place where horror fans can feel at home. And I'm Abnormal Andy. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Phantom Dark Dave. Dave, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good because Halloween is right around the corner. It's spooky season, Andy.
Yeah, for sure, man. I am excited, and I'm definitely excited. We've been kind of working up some plans for a cool Halloween episode, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for our fans to hear that once we get everything put together.
Yeah, man. And I saw this meme the other day, and I felt like it was a perfect description for every horror fan out there. It has a picture of Michael Myers, and it says, "Every day is Halloween for a horror fan. We just go crazy in October." And I'm like, that is so right. Because I've always told people, like, why do you get so excited for Halloween? I love horror every day. You know, there's nothing different in my life. But it's true. Everything gets amplified times 100 when it actually becomes October.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're into the spooky shit all year long. I mean, watching movies, maybe listening to some horror podcasts, or some horror audio drama stuff, or whatever, audiobooks.
Well, yeah, and the temperature drops, man. The leaves turn orange. Like, it just sets the scene. It's perfect.
It does, yeah.
It should be October every month.
Yeah. But then, you'd have to have a little bit of time for the leaves to turn green again so they can change back to orange.
Okay, so, it'll be 11 months of the year will be Halloween, and then we'll get down with a little bit of Christmas and spring and summer rolled into one.
Okay.
I'm down.
That'd be a crazy month. It would just get cold for like a couple weeks and then...
It depends where you live, because where I live, we still wear shorts on Christmas, dude.
That's true, yeah. Up here it gets a little bit chilly in the winter times. But it's kind of changing. It's, not snowing as much as it used to, I feel like, and not getting as cold as it has in the past. But I'm excited for tonight's episode. We're talking about some great movies. I have some great discussions, I feel like. But first, we want to kind of get into some horror headlines.
Horror News.
You wouldn't normally think of a kangaroo mixed with horror, right?
Not typically, but I'm really excited about what you're probably going to tell me.
All right, so Cape Light Pictures, they have revealed a full trailer for a hilarious B-movie horror creation called Rippy, formerly known as The Red. It's a kooky Australian comedy horror about a violent killer kangaroo. When locals in a country town start being killed by a zombie kangaroo, the local sheriff must face her past and work with her eccentric uncle to defeat the beast before it kills everyone. So here's just something from the filmmakers. They say it explores the conflict between obligation and freedom of choice, the grief of losing a loved one, and the lies we tell ourselves and each other to protect the memories of those that have passed. Well, it's a lot of themes for a killer kangaroo movie.
I was going to say, a zombie kangaroo. What kind of things is she facing in her past?
But then they go on to say it is also about a 7-foot-tall undead kangaroo and the start of the apocalypse. So they say The Red is a horror comedy film influenced by classic creature features such as The Thing, An American Werewolf in London, Jaws, and Razorback. So it's starring Tess Halbridge, Michael Biehn, Angie Milliken, and Aaron Peterson. So we know Michael Biehn from Aliens and The Terminator, all that kind of good stuff. This was shot entirely in Australia, of course. And so they're saying it's kind of like a fun pizza and beer movie. So yeah, there's a trailer up for it now. It's on YouTube. And I'm looking at a movie poster. It looks like they need to hire our friend Neil Fraser to do the movie poster for it. Because the movie poster could be better, in my opinion. But
it's always the case when you have Neil Fraser, man. He can always make anything better.
Yeah, so the tagline on the movie poster says, "There's an outbreak in the outback."
Oh, deep cut.
So yeah,
and Australia, man, they'd be the ones to put out a killer kangaroo movie, but I'm not mad at them. I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like I was looking for a release date, and it looks like it's going to be in select U.S. theaters and on VOD starting on October 18th. So it's directed by Australian indie film writer and filmmaker Ryan Coonan. This is his feature directorial debut. and he's made a few other short films previously. The screenplay is co-written by Coonan and another guy, Richard Barcariccio. I probably butchered that last name. It's produced by a bunch of people that I'd never heard of. You know, I love a good creature feature, so...
And the things that they're inspired by, it's some pretty gnarly movies, man. If they're... I mean, you could be inspired by it, but can you put that on, you know... take it from pen to paper and then put it on screen, you know? I don't want to see something that turns out to be Sharknado 3.
Yeah, no, I mean... That's the thing, like, yeah, you have a kangaroo that's attacking people, and I guess maybe they wanted to add a little bit more to it than that, so that's kind of why they have some of those other, the character drama stuff going on or whatever, so, you know, I'm sure it's not going to be anything more than a B movie, which I'm perfectly fine with, so I'm definitely going to be looking for that in October. Dave, you've told me that you've seen the Pooh movies, like the horror Pooh-niverse where that we have going on. It's like,
no, I meant the Killer Poop, man. The Pooh movies.
The Pooh. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I've seen the first 2 Winnie the Pooh movies. Yes.
Yeah, so I guess they're really working on expanding the Winnie the Pooh horror universe. Yep. So Piglet, now of all people, is getting his own bloody slasher movie. So coming soon from ITN Studios, it's a slasher movie, Piglet. It's the latest twist take on a public domain character from the Pooh universe, and they just released a trailer. Okay, so to clarify, this project is not part of the universe known as the Pooh-niverse, which began with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. It's the same idea, but it's a different people making this one. Okay.
I don't like it. Someone's already kickstarted the idea. Why do you got to, drink someone else's Kool-Aid like that?
Yeah, I hear you, man. This should really be a part of it. So they have a little plot synopsis here. So on Kate's 21st birthday camping trip, her 21st birthday camping trip. Okay. I was getting ready to read on Kate's 21st birthday party, but she's doing a camping trip. Okay, cool.
As one would do.
So her friends encounter Piglet, a monstrous human-pig hybrid who brutally murders one of them. They uncover Piglet's origins, and Kate must confront her past to survive the relentless killer. So what is up with this? They have to confront their past. Just make it...
You're 2 for 2 on that.
Yeah, this is just sounds like a B movie. Just don't make it serious. Don't make it overly complicated. Just have fun with it, you know?
I mean, how serious are you going to be? It's taking Piglet from the childhood books that we grew up with. But, you already get a healthy dose of Piglet from the other 2 movies. I don't know why they got to do it.
Oh, so Piglet is in the other ones. Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the poster, you can tell.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I have.
And I could just, the storyline, I could only imagine is not too far from what they did with Winnie the Pooh. I mean, there's only so much things you can do. Camping in the woods. Let's bring these public domain characters in here and let them kill people. But, I mean, will I watch it? Probably. I probably won't pay. I'll probably watch it on Tubi or something. But I am interested in seeing what the Poohverse is going to do, because they have announced a few other titles that do connect that I am looking forward to. So, but we'll see. Try anything once.
Hey, so you mentioned Tubi. So that it's a good segue for my next news story. Tubi has just recently added all 4 seasons of Beetlejuice the Animated Series.
Word.
So I don't know if you're a fan of that. I think I caught an episode here and there when I was a kid, but didn't really watch it that much. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it in forever, but it was definitely in my Saturday morning cartoon rotation. They used to play like Sonic the Hedgehog and Beetlejuice and then Back to the Future. Like, if it existed, it probably had its own animated series, and the Beetlejuice one was pretty entertaining, at least as a child.
The animated series originally ran on ABC from 1989 to 1991, and as we all know, the sequel's out in theaters right now. People are saying it's heavy on nostalgia, but retains some controversial takes about women.
The sequel or the cartoon?
The sequel, saying.
Oh, well, I saw the sequel. You want to hear my non-spoiler review?
Sure, yeah. Let's hear it.
It was just okay. I mean, everybody was there to see Michael Keaton and any returning actors or actresses, heavy on the nostalgia factor, but the movie was so convoluted. They had too many, I don't know what you say, too many sticks in the fire, too many irons in the fire, that's what they say. And I don't know, man, if they had just chose one of them, it probably would have had a pretty cool thing, but they tried to do so much that every little thing didn't get enough time. So, is it worth a watch? Sure, if you're a fan of Beetlejuice, yes, it doesn't, and we knew it wouldn't in no way compare to the original, but I don't think it's worth theater price.
Okay, good to know. So I guess kind of talking about the whole controversy stuff, I guess basically they're just talking about Beetlejuice is politically incorrect. And
of course he is.
yeah. He was that way back in the 80s, and I guess Tim Burton is saying he is that way now still. So, it is what it is. I mean, that's the character, I think. And
it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, so the animated series switched things up a little bit and made Lydia and Beetlejuice friends instead of adversaries. So unlike in the movie, Beetlejuice helps Lydia boost her confidence and self-esteem. And the dialogue is kid-friendly but retains some of its rude sauciness.
Yeah, I all I can remember is the animation for it. And obviously, I don't think any of the actors reprised their roles for the voices. I couldn't imagine that being the case, but, I was like 4, 5, 6 years old when that was running. So, pretty much like anything at that time.
Yeah, let's see. 89. I was like 11 in 89.
Yeah, you got a couple of years on me, you old ass. But that's cool that they do that, because I think kids need to check that out.
Yeah, definitely if kids are curious about it. And it's just kind of expanding on that universe. So, yeah, I guess they had a Fantastic Fest, which is like a film festival here last week. I found an article that kind of talked about some of the movies that was shown there. So, like, for instance, like some of the types of movies that are featured on this festival, like last year, it had When Evil Lurks, which is something that we both really enjoyed.
Absolutely. So
it kind of gives some of these indie films a place to kind of come out and show themselves to the world, I guess, right? I don't know, whatever.
And you didn't go?
No, it's I think it's somewhere else. I think it's like, I want to say it's like on West or East Coast, something like that.
Oh, man, I thought you said it was in your area. I'm sorry.
They do have one in our area in February. It's called Panic Fest.
Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's at this little local theater, and it's in the suburbs of Kansas City, but they do every February. So I may have to go check that out. It's just a little bit of a drive for me. So one of the movies that is highlighted is Never Let Go. It's a new Halle Berry horror film.
Yep, seen the preview for that one.
Yeah, and she's actually teaming up with director Alexandra Aja.
Man, we just talked about him on the last episode.
Yeah, he did The Hills Have Eyes and Crawl, and we talked about that Crawl sequel in the works.
Yep.
So this is like a dark fairy tale about a mother of twin sons trying to outrun and outlast the evil lurking around them. Oh, okay, so they have to be tied up with ropes. They have to be connected with ropes at all times, and so they hang on to each other, urging each other to never let go, hence the title. But one of the boys questions if the evil is real. The ties that bind them together are severed, triggering a terrifying fight for survival. So I'm not really sure. I'm sure they have. You said they have a trailer out, so that probably will give people more context about what they're running from or what they're trying to stay safe from or whatever.
Yeah, it's everything you described with a little bit of Quiet Place kind of mixed in.
Okay, that's interesting. It's a kind of a common theme. But
it is, and that's kind of why I'm on the fence about seeing it. I did hear it was okay, but when I look at stuff like that, I really got to say, how Hollywood is this, and do I want to go see it? And so with all the horror movies that are coming out between now and probably the next 2 months, I got to pick and choose wisely, or else I'm going to be bankrupt, and that might be one I wait for.
Yeah, I hear you. I thought you were
$30, man.
I thought you were AMC Stubbs person.
I'm a Stubbs person, but I'm no longer an A-list person.
Oh, dang, okay.
Yeah, ever since we moved, we chose not to continue to do that. I don't really like the AMC over here as much as the one of where we used to live. And to be honest, there was a point when horror movies kind of stopped coming out for a little while. And when you're just like continuously dropping $20 all the time, it's kind of like having an app you don't use,
Okay.
And so we decided if we're only going to go to the movies once a month or every other month, that's the same price as A-list. So let's just pay for the tickets and go. And if you go on Tuesdays, they're discounted.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know about that, don't you?
I think I remember this. The Tuesday thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another movie in the Fantastic Fest. It's Terrifier 3, of course. Everybody is, I'm sure, itching to see this one. This is like this one that's been bright on the horizon. I've heard lots of people talking about this. Of course, Art the Clown. He's taken the horror world by storm. Everybody knows about Art the Clown. He's kind of like a new icon in horror movies.
I've had my ticket for Terrifier 3 for almost a month now.
Oh, okay, cool. So they have showings in your local theater. Cool.
Oh, yeah, bro. I mean, that movie is barely independent at this point.
Oh, okay.
People actually think he is Santa Claus. That's how popular he's getting.
So we're going to see the return of the final girl, Lauren Lavera, as Sienna, as well as Elliot Fulham and David Howard Thornton reprising their roles as Jonathan Shaw and Art the Clown. So Samantha Scafidi also returns as Victoria Hayes, the heroine turned villainess of Terrifier. And this time around, Damien Leone and crew are gifting us a holiday slasher. Okay, this takes place around Christmas time, right?
Now you get the Santa Claus reference.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, if you have no idea, you need to look at the poster. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I said this in the last time we talked about this. I have not seen any of these movies. So that's kind of a shame. You know, well, a shame for me, whatever. Don't throw...
You should go ahead and get on the bandwagon, because if they're just going to keep making sequels, he's our modern day Freddy Krueger, man. It's worth it.
Yeah, I guess, like, it just didn't seem like something that was for me. But yeah, I'll definitely just have to check it out, because it is so prevalent in the horror genre, like in the horror community. Like, it's probably good just to kind of be aware of kind of what... It
is. The only thing I'll tell you is it has the brutality of Saw. And so if like extreme gore and stuff gets you, just kind of be forewarned before going in.
Yeah, that's... And I kind of... I've heard things about the first one. Yeah, that infamous scene. And then I don't know if I've really heard a whole lot about the second one. Yeah, I've heard some stuff about this.
Let's not talk too much about some things, because if people haven't seen 2 or... You know.
Sure, yeah. No, I just... I guess the point I was trying to make is I've heard about the brutality. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't watched them as much. But anyway, I should probably check them out anyway. So another movie that caught my attention in this list here is... it's a movie called Getaway. And Shaun of the Dead star Nick Frost. He wrote this movie and it also stars in this. It's a slasher movie. So that's 2 pluses for me.
Yeah.
So the story centers on a family vacation to a remote getaway, which takes an unexpected turn when they discover the island they're on is inhabited by a serial killer. So that sounds interesting. I'm
relieved you didn't say inhabited by zombies, because I was about to get really frustrated. I'm so over the modern day zombie thing right now, but serial killers, it never gets old.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, Nick Frost, he was hilarious in Shaun of the Dead, and also Hot Fuzz, and At the World's End, I think.
Yeah,
was that the other one? There was like 3 of them.
Yeah, that one I like a lot because it has the sci-fi mixed in.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Okay, one more quick movie I'll just mention here, then we'll be done with this one. VHS. There's a new installment of the VHS series coming out.
Another one?
This one's called VHS Beyond.
Oh my gosh, I am so behind on that. I love the first 3, but I have not seen all the ones that premiered on Shudder. But Andy, I finally got Shudder. Nice. I can no longer be a sad sap over here. I'm catching up.
Yeah, so I've seen 1 and 2, and I've seen VHS 85 and 99. Those are
You skipped 3? Why you do that?
I don't know. I just didn't think that they were like a linear thing, so I thought I just kind of pick and choose which ones.
They're probably not, as far as I know, but still, man.
Yeah.
That's like you skipping the second Creature movie.
Oh, yeah.
In the Creature from the Black Lagoon trilogy. Like, come on.
I did watch the beginning of the second Creature movie the other day.
That's worse, because now you're like, I didn't even finish it. Like, damn it, Andy.
But yeah, so this new VHS movie that's coming out, this is, like you said, this is the 7th installment, and there's going to be 6 new blood-curdling tapes, placing horror at the forefront of a sci-fi-inspired hellscape. So the directors of this batch are Jordan Downey, Christian Long, and Justin Long. Oh, Justin Long, cool.
Justin Long, whoa, yeah, I'm in.
Justin Martinez, Viret Pal, Kate Siegel, which we've heard, she's the woman from Hush. She works with Mike Flanagan a lot. I think they're married. That's why they work together. Anyway.
That would make sense.
And last but not least, Jay Cheel is another director. So it sounds like it's going to be kind of like set in space or kind of that kind of stuff, which, you know, that's cool.
Set in space. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, so it sounds like some cool movies coming out. Some, kind of interesting stuff. So everybody has been chomping at the bit for a sequel to Trick or Treat, right?
Right.
So back in 2013, fans learned that there was going to be a sequel. This was according to Entertainment Weekly. Director Michael Dougherty shared the good news at Beyond Fest 2013. But as it's been over a decade since the sequel was announced, fans are curious about why Trick or Treat hasn't been released yet. Trick or Treat 2 hasn't been released yet. So according to Bloody Disgusting, Dougherty said the movie was in very active development at Beyond Fest in 2022. Then in October of 2023, according to Collider, Dougherty talked about the timing of the sequel, and while there's no official update, it sounds like Trick or Treat 2 is still happening. He said, quote, "I'm hoping to talk to Legendary, which is the company making it. They've been wonderful, like great collaborators, but so much of it is timing, and as you know, we just got out of a strike, so they had the writer strike, or the SAG strike. Yeah, anyway. So the next step, fingers crossed, would be looking at budget and, of course, schedule and all the rest." Okay, so, and he also goes on to say, "We have a really, really great script for a sequel, and I brought in my co-writer from Krampus to do it with me. So Zach Shields and Todd Casey, who do Krampus with me, also helped me write Trick or Treat Part 2. Okay, so that's basically the update. So basically, it's in development. It was delayed because of the strike, maybe. Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath. Like you said, it's been over a decade, but I love that first movie, and if they can do anything remotely close, I'll be interested in it. But dude, I guess that's kind of the way it goes now. Look at, Beetlejuice, and even The Matrix and Bill and Ted, all like, why is there a sequel 30 years later? 15 years later ain't shit nowadays, I guess. But lightning strikes in the same place twice, 3 times, 4 times. Not too often, right? And so it'll be interesting to see, because that first one is a damn near perfect horror film.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and the best part of that movie is it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. There's things that stand out to you after every subsequent watch. And I love showing it to people who have never seen it.
Yeah, it's true. There's so much going on the screen. Yeah, it's hard to see it all in one passing. You have to, I think like you said, it's one of those movies where you get more each time you watch it.
All right, Andy, you ready for me to tell you about my horror news?
Yeah, let's go for it.
And I'm going to see if I can keep mine under 20 minutes, unlike this fool over here. All right. Andy, let's talk about Speak No Evil, man. You've been seeing the buzz about Speak No Evil, the James McAvoy horror film?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of buzz about that one.
So a lot of people don't know. Some people do, but a lot of people don't know that movie is actually a quick turnaround, because it's a remake of a Danish film that came out in 2022, but of course in America everything tries to be bigger and better, and so they spent $15 million making this movie, and it has surpassed the $40 million make. And so I know people love James McAvoy, but people also love horror movies around Halloween, and this movie is directed by James Watkins, who did Eden Lake, which is a movie I've always heard about and never seen. I know Hope and George over at Fright Club like that movie, but I have not seen Eden Lake. Have you seen it?
No, I've not seen it. I've heard
it's brutal.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Enticing.
But that's the exact opposite effect for me.
Exactly. That's why you stay at bay. But he also did The Woman in Black, that Daniel Radcliffe horror film, which was, is an alright movie. So pretty cool. But, earlier you were talking about trailers for movies. Last episode, we talked about a movie that was coming out soon. And today I want to touch base on it again, because I watched the trailer. Andy, have you seen the trailer for Salem's Lot?
Oh, I'm trying to remember if I actually watched the trailer or I just watched it without sound. So I feel like...
You trying to avoid spoilers, buddy?
Well, sometimes I'll just be messing around on my phone while I'm at home over, and I'll just see a video and I'll just kind of watch it without sound or whatever. But I did see that they had a trailer for it, but I think I did... No, I did watch it with sound. That's right. It looks really cool. I'm excited for it.
Same thing, man. I was really hesitant about it because it's touching a property as something that we both love. And I know when we were talking about it briefly before, you had mentioned that it looked like they were staying in the same time period. And when the trailer started, I guess I had forgotten that. And I was so relieved because it gave me a little bit of that 70s, 80s that we love so much. And by the time it was done, I was like, I'm actually excited for this. And I think, like you, I'm going to have to get me a free Max trial when it comes out, because I'm really looking forward to it. And so we may do it on the podcast if people want. So that could be pretty cool. But let's talk about another movie that just came out on Blu-ray and 4K, and it's a movie that you have not seen and you need to see, and I love it so much, and it was Long Legs. It is finally on physical format, which means you should be able to stream it, Andy.
Yeah, I need to look for that. I've been checking up, and it's still like, I think you can like rent it for $10 now, or I think it's down to $10 now.
It's still doing that Fandango movies at home thing, but not quite that $3 rental fee.
I mean, I would do the $10. Yeah, because it looks like a quality movie.
Yeah, I paid whatever I paid to go see it in theater, and I would have saw it again if the opportunity had presented itself. But I don't want to put it too far on a pedestal, but man, that movie, you think you're watching something, and it kind of subverted my expectations. It became something else, and it just made me really happy. And so Long Legs will be a recommendation for me for a long time, and then I watch it again and don't like it as much. Damn, I'm sorry. But last one I'm going to do, Andy, is I know you're a fan of Arrow Video. You know, they always put some really cool shit out on Blu-ray for us, and a lot of times they reach back into the 80s and stuff, and they didn't do that this particular time. They took the Friday the 13th remake and dropped it on 4K, but they released it in a steelbook, and it comes with a slipcover that's reversible and has a double-sided poster in it. And so I know we talked about some Amityville movies in the past, and then we kind of talked about the Amityville remake in a brief conversation. I don't know your take on the Friday the 13th remake from 2009. What did you think of that movie?
Actually, I really liked it.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know, it was probably clever how they, if anybody knows the Friday the 13th franchise well enough, they'll see little Easter eggs from 1, 2, and 3 kind of combined, and that was a smart way of doing it. And I remember I really liked Derek Mears as Jason Voorhees. I really hope he can land that gig again once Friday the 13th or Jason, however they want to do it, start making horror movies again. But I'm glad to know you liked it, because I liked it too.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it, definitely, and like you said, it had a lot of the elements from the first 3 movies, which I thought were cool.
Hell yeah, man. Well, that wraps up horror news. Let's go ahead and talk about our runner-up movie of the day.
Slashers.
So, Dave, one of my favorite movies from the 2010s, and this is kind of showing my hand a little bit, but one of my favorite movies from the 2010s was You're Next, and that is, this is actually my pick for our slasher segment of this episode. And so I'm really excited to talk about this, kind of get your take on it.
Andy, is this only one of your favorites because you got to interview Sharnie Vinson? Is that what this is?
That did make it really cool, but I really enjoyed this movie the first time I watched it. And so just getting to talk to her about it was the icing on the cake. You know, we'll have to make, we did some really cool interviews with Black Cat Shadow. We'll have to make those available for people in the future. I think that would be a cool thing to do.
Oh, for sure, man. I think once we get a few of these episodes out, and if people like the show enough, we can come out with some kind of Patreon thing where they can get access to other episodes we've done over the last 7 years. That'd be awesome.
And there was some, I don't know if I should say this, but there was some unreleased episodes that we didn't release that I still have that we could put out.
Samesies, bro.
Cool. But yeah, so this one, now, Dave, was this the first time you'd seen this one or not?
This was the 10th time I've probably seen this one.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think for me, even though this is like one of my favorites, I think this is like the 3rd time I've seen this movie, which, you know, it's kind of surprising because I really love this movie. But anyway, that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that you rewatch this one on the regular. I can definitely see myself seeing this more often. Do you think you get a benefit from rewatching it? Do you kind of catch more things as you watch it again?
You do, because this movie has a neat little twist in itself, and once that twist is revealed, when you watch the movie again, you look for subtle hints throughout the film, and they're clear as day. But I think what helps this movie on its rewatch is not only the amazing death scenes, the really good and believable story, but great acting.
Oh, yeah. Everybody is great in this. I mean, yeah, I really love the family dynamics because and that's what adds a lot of humor to this movie. It's not like a comedy by any stretch of the word, but there is like humor. There's parts where you laugh because, you in any family where you have siblings, there's going to be sibling rivalry, and you can definitely see this in this family. So basically, to set up the plot, it's a couple. They're an older couple, and they're getting ready to celebrate their wedding anniversary. And I can't remember, this is like 50 years or so. It's something like that. It's like a big one. And they've invited their whole family to come with them. And they have like this huge mansion like out in the woods. And it's actually filmed in Missouri, which is cool.
Yeah.
They invite all their kids to come celebrate their anniversary, to stay with them for the weekend. And so in this family, you have, I don't know the age order, but you have Crispin, who's played by A.J. Bowen. And you'll recognize him from House of the Devil.
Yeah. One of our favorites.
Yeah, and you also have Drake, who's played by Joel Swanberg.
Joe Swanberg.
Yeah,
yep.
and he cracked me up because he was such an asshole in this movie. But it's funny because he was sneaky about it, because he definitely played like the golden boy with his parents. Like he kissed up to his parents, but then he took little jabs at his brother, especially Crispin, took little jabs at him. And like they're at the dinner table, and this is one of those scenes that was like really funny. Like they were talking about Aaron. So I guess to kind of go through the family, you've got Crispin and his girlfriend Aaron, and the family's not met her yet. She's like a new girlfriend or whatever. I guess they might have been around. They might have been together for a little while. I'm not sure. They don't really say. But then you have Drake and his wife, and then you have Felix and Z, which Felix is the youngest brother, I think, and Z is his girlfriend. And then you have a sister. I can't remember her name, but she brings her boyfriend Tariq. Is it Tariq? I think it's his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the cool thing about
him.
Tariq is that it's a cameo by Ty West. And if anybody out there doesn't know who Ty West is, we're going back to House of the Devil. It's one of mine and Dave's favorite movies of all time, I feel like. He's a really good director. He did House of the Devil. He did the Innkeepers, The Sacrament. I feel like he did something else that I'm missing. But anyway, those are kind of probably his most well-known films. And but he plays...
Well, Andy, I mean, he did X and Pearl and Maxine. So
yeah, that's what I'm missing. Yeah.
that might be his biggest now.
That's what I'm missing. Okay, yeah. So it's funny, the cameo that he plays in this movie, he plays a filmmaker. And it's funny, so they're at the dinner table. So you kind of have all of these siblings and you have the parents. And Drake is talking to Tariq. He's like, "Oh, you're a filmmaker." He's like, "That's great." He's like, "Well, what movies have you made?" He's like, "Well, I mostly made documentaries, And he's like, "You probably wouldn't have heard of." He's like, "Oh, okay." And Drake starts going on about commercials. He's like, "Man, I think commercials are just so great. That's probably like the pinnacle of filmmaking." You could tell that Tariq is just kind of like annoyed by him. He could tell he's just like, Drake is just like poking at him, trying to provoke something. And even when like Crispin was talking about Aaron and like how they met, because I think Drake asked him how they met. And it's like, "Oh yeah," Crispin says, "Oh yeah, she's one of my students because Crispin is a professor at a college." And so he says, "She's one of my students," or "She was one of my students, not anymore because of the ethics of the situation." And Drake, he goes to like take a drink of water. He's like, "Yeah, that's kind of unprofessional." But he says it really soft where like only Crispin can hear it. And Chris is like, "What?
Right.
What'd you say?" And like they just started getting into this whole argument. And that's kind of what sets off.
Well, and you know why it works so well is because it was all improv comedy. Like the script was so loose at the table that the director was just let them do their thing. And this was directed by Adam Wingard, who's also really, really amazing. They're all part of that Splat Pack, and written by Simon Barrett. And so a lot of these people work together on a lot of projects, and I think that shows on the surface because they're just having a good time. And a lot of the lines are pretty clever.
Yeah, it's really good dialogue, and I was really enjoying myself just in this dinner scene. And it's funny because this is right before everything, like right before the horror kind of kicks off. So if you haven't seen You're Next, please...
Everybody dies. All right, go ahead.
Please go watch the movie and then come back and listen to the episode because we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about it. But anyway, so...
If you haven't seen You're Next, it's on Freevee and the Roku channel for free. It's on Tubi. Do it now.
Yeah, okay, so fair warning. Spoilers ahead. Okay, here we go. So I think it's kind of funny that, we have Ty West in a cameo as a filmmaker, and he is actually the first victim. And even before this, you have that first scene we get a cool cameo with Larry Fessenden. So we have this cameo with Larry Fessenden, and I think anytime you see him in a movie, you know you're in for a ride. So I was really happy to see him in this little cameo. It's like a cold open. We see him in his I think it's like it's a teacher-student situation too there. They're kind of together at this cabin, and they both get killed by these mass killers, and so this is kind of setting us up, and you see like the "Your Next" written in blood on the window, and so that was a really cool way to show the beginning credits, I think, or the beginning name. There was no credits.
Right. Hey, I don't want to keep connecting to House of the Devil, so I'm going to connect to our last episode that we did. You talked about Larry. He was actually in Session 9. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. He did play a bit part in that one, too, yeah.
Yeah, he shows up in a lot of Ty West stuff, but go ahead, keep going. I'm loving it.
Yeah, so, we get this cold open that kind of sets us up for, I don't know, just kind of the pace of the movie, because this movie is really well paced. I feel like there's always things going on in this movie. It's never like a dull moment, Even when there's not action, there's like some kind of dialogue that's really entertaining or something like that.
Right, and it was really smart of the filmmaker to start off the 2 first kills of the movie with damn near off-screen deaths.
Yeah.
Because then you're kind of like, oh man, is this going to be one of those movies? And guess what? No, it is not.
So after that, we have the parents, which one of them is, the mom is played by Barbara Crampton.
Scream Queen. Yeah.
And the other is some guy I can't remember. I don't really recognize him from it. No, I take that back. I do recognize him from something, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. But he is kind of a familiar face, but not super well known, I guess. But anyway, this couple, they come to their house and they find the front doors unlocked, which, that's kind of suspicious. And it just kind of sets you up for this. They're just building the suspense because these parents are like, they're wondering if somebody's in the house. And the mom actually hears noises upstairs while the dad is down in the basement, like fixing a fuse or something. And so he comes upstairs and and the mom tells him, hey, there's somebody upstairs. I just heard footsteps. Or she thinks she did. And he goes up, the dad goes upstairs to look around. And as he's looking, he's about to open up a closet door, and Crispin comes out of nowhere and says, hey, Dad, and I think that
saves the day.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm wondering if how the twist happens. Was Crispin trying to stop something from happening?
Of course.
You think, okay.
Yeah, I think he's like, don't go upstairs, Dad.
Yeah. So that was cool. And just, as the family kind of filters in, you kind of are introduced to everybody, and you kind of see the family dynamics start to work here. And as you kind of know what happens at the end of the movie, you can kind of pay attention to some of the things. And you can kind of see some clues as to how things are going to play out, because you can kind of see the family dynamics, and you can kind of see some reasons why people might make some choices that they make later on in the movie. And I think it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so basically, you have family coming, and then it culminates in the dinner scene. And so that's where everybody sits down to this big dinner table. The whole family's around. And we get to this argument, of course, between Drake and Crispin. They're like the 2 oldest brothers, I feel like. And they're the ones that kind of butt heads the most. But it's really funny. I don't know. I really enjoyed this dinner scene. How about you, Dave?
Andy, you don't have brothers and sisters, do you?
Not really. I did have a niece that lived with us for a little while. So she's kind of, but yeah.
I'm the same way. I grew up without brothers and sisters, so I didn't grow up in a big family, so I never got to have the tables full of different conversations and people. So when I see stuff like this, it makes me really happy.
Yeah, it was,
I'm a little jelly.
It was interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I was necessarily jealous, because if you had a brother like Drake, I would not want to, because I think I would probably...
you got to whoop his ass, don't get me wrong, but still, you just got to be the better brother.
But they, Crispin and Drake almost came to blows here, and then Tariq, he stands up and he's noticing something outside, and he gets up and he's walking to one of the windows, he's looking outside, what is that? And then all of a sudden, there's an arrow, flies and hits him right in the head. And
he's just a fan of archery, that's all it is.
Yeah. And it's funny because even though this happens, the family, they don't register right away. And because Tariq is actually still walking, even, when he's got this arrow in his forehead. It's
a slow reveal.
Yeah, he's kind of walking backwards, stumbling around, and then slowly everybody kind of stops talking and looks at Tariq, and he falls down dead. And then they just freak out. Everybody just freaks out because there's more arrows being shot in. I think Drake gets shot in the back with an arrow.
Well, yeah, because I think he blocks his mom.
That's right, and I think part of he does that because he's like a suck up to his parents, basically.
Yeah, the whole time.
But it is honorable for him to do that too. I mean, not.
Well, he's the oldest son. He's the favorite, right? Like that's how that goes.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking too. And so Erin, she actually kind of takes control. Like we can tell pretty soon off the bat that she's going to be the final girl, right? Because she takes control like right off the bat. She starts telling people grab a chair and use them for cover, and she like starts helping people get out of that room.
She's like army crawling under the large dinner table.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
I feel like this movie is just really unpredictable. You just never know what's going to happen. And I think that's one of the things that I liked about this on the first watch, and even on a rewatch. Some stuff can kind of catch you off guard because it had been a couple years since I've seen this.
I know during my first watch, one of the biggest things that caught me off guard outside of the twist of the film was that the mom goes upstairs after being hysterical and lays in bed to kind of just cry, get her grief on. And then another killer is revealed under the bed. And the mom actually gets murdered. Like, I didn't think they were going to do Barbara Crampton that way, man. But it was a pretty gnarly reveal when they do that as well. Because they go upstairs and there's more blood on the wall and she's dead.
Yeah, actually it says you're next to there too as well, yeah. But I do love that scene because you have her on the bed kind of crying, and then you just see somebody coming out from under it, and it's really creepy, well done. The lighting is really well done.
What do you think of the masks that the killers are wearing?
I thought they were interesting. I didn't know if they were like trying to say anything about the killers themselves or if they were just like random masks. But you have like a lamb, a tiger, and a fox.
A tiger and a fox. Yeah, you got it. What are they going to be saying about? What can you say about a lamb, dude?
Yeah, a lamb is just.
I think they're just.
Well, is it so? The lamb is not the first killer to get killed, though. I think it's the tiger that's the first one, right?
Which was Simon Barrett, the writer.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That is awesome.
And it seems like the fox, he might be kind of like the leader. I don't know.
Yeah, the intimidating factor.
Yeah, because he was really, he seemed like to be the one to be in control, and he was like the more intimidating of the three. I feel like.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, and it's funny, like even with an arrow like stuck in his back, Drake is still antagonizing his siblings, like saying stuff to them. I think he's starting to say stuff to Felix now or something. I can't remember now exactly, but it's just even in the midst of this like craziness, he's still like jabbing at his siblings. It's just funny, and I feel like the pacing with this movie is just perfectly paced. Like every so often, there's just something happening, and
I like that it's a home invasion film that has a lot of people, because typically a home invasion movie is usually like, the mom and then the child are alone in the house or something of that nature. It's very much like 5 characters and less. In this one, we have a home invasion film that has at least 10 characters in it, but it still manages to feel threatening.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I agree. There's lots of people, and so I really enjoyed. So it kind of gives you a lot of opportunities for things to happen. And the pacing was so good. Like whenever the action doesn't really start till like 30 minutes in, but I felt like the movie had only been going for like 15 minutes, before we got that dinner scene. So I thought that was a sign that the pacing was really good. I think for me, like you said, the acting was all great. I really enjoyed the acting. Everybody was good. I didn't really notice a bad actor among any of them.
Remember that scene whenever they decide who's going to go ahead and run for help, and they open the door, and then one of the girls goes hauling out and then gets throat slashed by one of those invisible wires?
Yeah.
That hit me home so bad, Andy, because when I was in elementary school, they were doing construction on our playground, and they stringed off the area. And so in gym, we always had to run around everything. And so we're like, oh shit, the fence is down. Let's cut across. And so many of us tried to run across, and we all got hit by this like invisible string in our faces and our necks. And we were all in the nurse that day, bro. So we all got like rope burn and stuff.
Oh,
it
wow.
was embarrassing and painful as shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of kids in the nurse's office with like throat slashes from strings. It was pretty crazy.
Well, it's funny with that scene, if you watch it, if you know what's happening, like what the twist is, you can kind of see things being set up on that scene because, like I said, spoilers, Felix is the one that tells her to make a run for it, right?
Yeah,
and
asshole.
And he tells her to run as fast as you can because I think he knows what's waiting for her out there. And so I think that was interesting.
I like when they're talking back and forth and they're telling dude to make a run for it. And like, he's got an arrow in his back. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't hurt his legs.
Yeah. I think they were
what?
even arguing about who was the faster of the siblings or something like that. The sister said she was the fastest, and Drake said, "Oh, I'm the fastest." Of course, none of the other ones volunteered because the other siblings were all in on it, as we later find out.
That's right, man. You got 3 killers with 3 masks and 3 people who set this whole thing up.
3. So you have Felix, Crispin,
and Z was in on
Z,
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 She likes it so much she wants to have sex next to a dead mom.
Oh my gosh, that was definitely a crazy scene.
Hey, you're a crazy bitch. Yeah.
She tells Felix, what does she say? Something like, you never want to do anything fun or something, or you're no fun anymore. Or something like that.
She definitely shops at Hot Topic.
Yeah. But I did really like the score too. I thought the score was really good in this movie.
I'm so proud of you to acknowledge the music like that. That's awesome.
It's funny because, with this family on the surface, and I think earlier in the movie there's a shot where the mom is like dusting off one of the family portraits, and it shows the family kind of all lined up, and it looked like they're like the perfect family. But as whenever the proverbial shit hits the fan, you see that they are anything but fine, and there's a lot of like dysfunction in this family. So I think that was interesting.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that money is valued the way that it is because greed's a motherfucker, man. And that's kind of the whole thing there's sibling rivalry and everything, but at the end of it, it's all about the inheritance and how much money everybody's going to get. Yeah,
so I mean, to kind of lay it out for everybody, we know right off the bat that it's Felix and Z that are in on it. They're the first ones that we find out. So we know that they're in on it, and they're working with the killers. But then towards closer to the end, Aaron finds out that Crispin is also involved in it.
In a pretty clever way.
Yeah, because Crispin calls Felix, and this is after Aaron has killed Felix. So his phone starts ringing.
With a fucking blender.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Best scene.
And so Aaron hears the phone ring, so she grabs it, and she sees... I don't think she sees who's calling, but she just answers it. Or she just picks up... She hits the call button, and she just puts it to her ear. She doesn't say anything. And then that's when Crispin asks, is it done yet?
Reveals himself, and he's like, sorry I couldn't stay. I don't like the sight of blood or whatever. Oh, yeah, bitch.
It's like, oh my gosh. And even like this whole thing is just kind of funny. And so she finds out that what's going on. And then he actually walks in the front door, still talking on the phone, and then sees her with the phone in her hand. And so he starts trying to kind of, not really backpedal, but he starts to try to... He
tries to sugarcoat it,
Yeah,
man.
He tries to rationalize it all, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, where's Felix? She's like, I killed him. He's like, okay.
He's like, I can...
That's more money for us.
And then what about Z? It's like, I killed her too.
Yeah, and he tries to play it smart. He's just like, well, you were always intended to be the survivor, so you can tell the story.
Yeah, he said we needed an impartial person to be a witness for what happened.
We didn't know you were a fucking survivalist.
Yeah, and so the way that she responded, because I guess up to this point in their relationship, he didn't know that she was like a survivalist, or she had been raised in the survivalist camp and had all these skills.
How well do you really know your significant other?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a theme there, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, this movie just through and through, man, to me, this is a masterpiece, from the acting to the pacing to the music. Just the story is really cool. The villains are great. It's just a fun ride, man.
I am right there with you, man. I think this is one that holds up every time you watch it. And Andy, you should watch it more.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, one of the things that was cool at the end credits was the pictures of all the characters when they were dead. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh, really? I missed it. I always turn it off after the end goes, you're next.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I fucked up 10 times in a row.
Because usually, like in the end credits, they'll have those little montages where they'll show the character and have their name. But this one is just like a photo, like a Polaroid of all of them, like when they're dead or whatever.
Damn it! All right, see, that's what I'm talking about. Every time you get something new, 11th time's gonna be a banger, Andy. I can feel it.
I never have I didn't. Maybe there's an end credits scene. I don't know because haven't watched this all the way through the credits. But
what was your favorite death in the movie? I revealed mine as Felix already, the blender on the head, and you can agree, but
I don't know. Let me think. Let's see. My favorite. Man, I don't know. Like, well, one of the standout ones is probably Drake in the basement where Felix is like,
oh my gosh,
stabs him. He's like, "Why won't you die?" He just keeps
right.
stabbing.
Like, how many screwdrivers can one man take?
Yeah,
Shit.
that was crazy. But like I said, it has that dark comedy thing to it. But yeah, that's probably the standout one for me.
Okay.
I did like the part where Drake's wife, runs to the neighbor's house, and she sees Larry Fessenden sitting on the couch, and she's like,
"Boy, that one is not a fast kill."
No. Yeah.
She gets fucking slammed through that glass table.
Yeah, and then
through the glass door, through the glass table, and then she gets golfed in the head with an axe. Oh, that's one thing I love about this movie. Anytime you can bring in a chainsaw or axe, I get so excited. I forgot to ask you a question, Andy. So,
yeah.
Cool, man.
So there's always so like I said, I mean it's no surprise that we are giving this a favorable review. Both love this movie. Anybody that's out there that's listening that hasn't seen it, go see it. It's for free on Prime or whatever, so you can check it out. I think I watched this on Tubi. I can't remember now where I watched this, but it's out there to watch. And
well, of course it is. I already put all the plugs out of where it is. So that was your pick, Andy. You ready to hear about my pick?
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's time for the main event.
The main event.
All right, Andy, as always, the main event is a modern horror film, and we haven't really drawn the timeline, but I've noticed all of our modern films we try to keep within the last 10 years or so, and there was one that Renee told me about that came out just last year, and it was from 2023, and it was the American Hindi film It Lives Inside, and I was so excited to finally watch this movie. Andy, we are going to dive in and spoil it for everybody.
That's right.
So let's get into it, my dude. This movie streams on Hulu. If you haven't seen It Lives Inside, I cannot recommend you watch it enough before you hear us talk about it, because there are some really cool things in this movie that you may not want ruined for you. So here's your warning. Spoilers are coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. An American Indian teenager struggling with her cultural identity has a falling out with her former best friend and accidentally unleashes a demon from a jar. Andy, I always love the demonic stuff in horror films. What did you think about the premise going into this movie?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's a wholly original idea, but I mean it's definitely interesting. I do like where it's coming from like the Hindi perspective. I think that's cool. That's something that we don't see a lot of. Sam, our main character, she has an interesting role in this movie because she is from Hindi descent, but she is trying to like integrate into like American like Western culture. She's kind of trying to, I don't know about hide, but she wants to be more American. She goes by Sam instead of Samadhi, I think is her name, something like that. And she was actually best friends with Tamira, which is another Hindi girl that they go to school together with. They were best friends at one point, but then she kind of distanced herself from her and like is friends with like more like American, like white kids, I should say, whatever. But
just the kids that are popular in school, man.
Yeah. So but it's an interesting premise. You have Tamira she walks around with this glass jar, and you don't really know why. But
it's got a whole bunch of like black gunk or smoke in it.
Yeah, but you soon find out why she's carrying that around and why she's trying to. It's not like she's trying to protect it or make sure nothing happens to it.
Right, because we find out she had got it from somebody who previously died, and we're led to believe that the reason that person died might be from that jar. And I think shit hits the fan when we see that she's putting raw meat in there and feeding whatever's inside. And Andy, we know how that goes. I mean, once you get the taste of blood, it's not good, and it only goes worse from there. And I love this movie, dude, because I thought that all the acting is super, super good. I love the setting, and the introduction that we learn about the Pishash, I might be saying that wrong, but the Pishash is the demonic entity that's inside, and it's from Hindu and Buddhist mythologies, and it's a malevolent being that basically is a manifestation of evil that feeds on like grief and depression and a whole bunch of negative forces that you have. And once it's revealed on the surface that that's what this is, it's really cool because even though Sam is trying to basically fit in with the kids around her, her mom is very strong about the Hindi culture. Like, she wants her to not forget where she's from and still honor a lot of the Hindi traditions. But when one of those Hindi traditions is the demonic mythology, she's quick to like, oh shit, and she has to tell her mom about this, and her mom does everything that she can to try to help her fight this demon. And so I love that mother-daughter dynamic that we got.
Yeah, it is. I do like that part of it. I mean, we get this, and I think that's kind of can be a very real thing with like, well, just teenagers in general. They don't want to have anything to do with their parents, but especially like a mother-daughter. That I think there's kind of like extra stuff there, maybe. Especially when, you have the different cultures clashing.
And didn't you get that the dad was very caught in the middle? And I love it too, because I'm a dad and I have a son and a daughter. But, when you have daddy's little girl, there's a little special connection with that. And I saw that in this movie very much so on the surface.
Yeah, for sure. The dad is more lenient, wants to like kind of let Sam do her own thing, whereas the mother wants her to participate in some of the cultural things that they do. The dad is like, it's okay. She can kind of do her own thing if she wants. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I think maybe I was trying to think about like, because the mom really struggles with living in America, and I'm wondering like, so what brought them to America? Was it? I almost felt like it was maybe the dad. Maybe he got a job or something.
It's traditionally like the opportunities that present itself. Yeah, and it allows them to, because like getting a green card or the ability to a passport, whatever you fucking call it, to come over to America. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it traditionally is easier if you have certain degrees. You know what I mean? Like doctors, business management, something that's profitable like that. Then it's really, and a lot of people like to come over here and do really well for themselves, but also send money back home. And so I think the intention was to obviously give a great life to their daughter, but also to help family back home. Because at some points, the mom even talks about, we tried to do the right thing for our family.
Yeah, she definitely says that. And I think, so they definitely highlight that that's what they've been doing, but they did leave family behind in India. But it seems like they do have a Hindi community there, because there's a scene where they are... So to kind of carry on the storyline, like a little bit later in the movie, Tamira asks Sam for help because Tamira has this glass jar, and Sam doesn't really understand what's going on, but Tamira asks her for help, and Sam, once she explains everything, Sam's just like, you're crazy, get away from me, she kind of knocks the glass jar out of her hand and it smashes on the floor. And so after this...
Did your heart stop when she did that? I was fucking stunned, dude, because I didn't expect her to be so savage like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, I could definitely tell that Sam was just not really interested in hearing what Tamira had to say. She was just kind of like, whatever, just get away from me kind of thing. And so I don't know, like, and maybe it didn't surprise me as much. But... we really see the effects right off the bat, because Tamira runs away, but then she gets like taken by we don't see, it's an invisible force that takes her, and so she goes missing. And so
I like how they did that. They get the Jaws effect. You don't see all the monster at once.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's like basically invisible for the first part. You just see her hair kind of lift up, and she gets like pulled away. Cool. But the family does have a Hindi community, because they had, like, a couple days later, after Tamira goes missing, they have a prayer meeting or something to pray for Tamira. And Sam just kind of callously walks out on it. She's not interested in it. And her mom really is upset with her. So it's interesting. So later on in the movie, like, Sam does go to her mother for help with the Pashish. But what surprised me was that her mom didn't know, like, a Swami or some kind of spiritual leader to go to for help. She just tried to like keep it in house and tried to do things to help her daughter herself.
There might have been some like she might have used that as an anchor or a crutch to be able to connect with her daughter again, though.
Oh, okay, that makes
like
sense.
The motherly side might have took over instead of the
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that kind of answers that question for me.
And the mom's name is Porna, right?
Yeah, Porna. Yeah,
Porna. Yeah.
and the dad is like it's like I can't remember.
Inesh.
Inesh. Yeah, something like that.
They were so great. I loved their performances in this. This was a total believable family dynamic that we had.
I was wondering that this is kind of this story centers on like some younger like teenagers. I was wondering, is this gonna be like a Gen Z horror? Are we gonna like get some things that we're not gonna be able to relate to? But I feel like the story was fairly relatable, as we're both like white dudes, not no association with the Hindu culture or whatever. I think it was somewhat relatable, but
I totally related to the movie, man. We all know what it's like to feel like an outsider and you want to fit in,
So did you see any parallels with other movies like It Follows or Smile? I kind of
Oh yeah, and a little bit of Jennifer's Body.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen that one.
Man, It Follows is so fucking good. No spoilers.
Yeah, so like with this one, I mean, you have, after Tamara goes missing, this creature starts setting its sights on Sam now. But it's invisible, so nobody else can really see it except for her. And I think they did use this kind of invisible attribute of the creature to good effect, because there are some scenes where the creature is there but you can't see it.
Yeah.
And there's especially one scene later on in the movie where Sam is trying to ask help from the teacher, Joyce. And Sam sees a creature behind her, but we as the audience don't see it. Well, we do at that one point, but
Joyce totally believes it too, because Joyce turns around and looks and nothing's there, but then she reaches her hand out. I thought that was really cool.
Oh man, that was so tense. That scene where she reached her hand out.
Yeah, and that also helped us understand that Joyce really does confide in Sam like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of wondering what, like, okay, I guess I'm maybe a little cynical. I was wondering, what is Joyce's like intentions here? Is she actually trying to help Sam? Because there was a scene earlier where
she said, "We got to take care of our own," girl power, man.
There's a scene where we do see Tamara again, and she's being held captive somewhere. We don't really know where, but it looks like it's in somebody's basement, because she tries to make an escape for it, and we see like the basement door. She's running up to it, but the creature, the Pashash, grabs her and drags her back down the stairs. So I'm wondering, okay, is she in somebody's house? And so that kind of got my wheels turning, and I probably overthought this a little bit, but I was thinking, is she like in somebody's house is there somebody in cahoots with the demon, or is she in somebody's house? We later learned that it's just she's at the house that was at the beginning with Kunan. Karan, yeah, the family that
the boy that died.
Yeah, it's just his.
That's where she got that book from too.
Yeah, they go so like Sam has a crush on this guy named Russ.
Russ is cool, man. That motherfucker's got charm written all over him. His dimples.
Well, I think that's funny. He likes his big gulps. He always has like a.
He goes to 7-Eleven a lot.
Yeah, he always has a big gulp cup with him. I thought that was funny.
Andy, did you have a car as cool as that motherfucker did?
I'm trying to remember what his car was. I don't even remember.
I'm not a car guy. I couldn't tell you the kind of car it was, but dude, in high school, some of us had 4-door, not so cool cars, and some people had like muscle street cars like that dude had.
Oh yeah,
straight out of the 80s, bro.
I totally had a little red hatchback. It was not cool at all. But I did have some cool speakers in the back. I had these like.
Were they actual speakers that were installed, or did you have like your boom box in the back seat, Andy?
No, it was actually like speakers for an old home stereo system that were like in the back window.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
best of both worlds.
It was totally like it was funny.
What kind of music were you listening to in high school, Andy, when you're driving your red hatchback?
Oh, like rock, alternative,
Okay, a little bit of Green Day, maybe.
Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff, yeah. But so the thing is, so Sam has a thing for Russ, so they kind of like meet up, and she actually confides in Russ, and she tells him that she wants to go to the house, Karan's house, the kid's house, and I wasn't really sure why they're going to the house.
Well, she doesn't really ask. She's just telling the story of it, and Russ kind of just reads into it and assumes that's where they want to go, and she just kind of smiles at him. So they just have a really good connection.
So they go to the house, and that's where they find Coran's diary, right? At the house. Or no, it seems like they
Well,
find
no, because she already had it, but that's where she leaves it by accident. Yeah.
Yeah, where does she go?
But that's where they see all those paintings on the wall.
Yeah, they see the paintings on the wall, and so she takes a picture of it, and that's what she later shows Joyce.
Yeah.
But it's so like that first time that they went to the house, the cops came, and they like ran out really fast.
We never saw the cops come to the house, though. Like, I know that that's how they acted, but the cops could have just been driving down the street or getting close. They just got kind of nervous and scared and ran out.
Okay, so I was wondering because the second time, because they go back like the next day, and they're just like walking around like not a care in the world. Like they don't, like they're not worried about getting caught.
They're young and in love, Andy. Nothing else matters.
I don't know. I to be honest, I didn't quite buy the chemistry between Russ and Sam, but
really?
Yeah, I don't know. In that kiss, like he wanted to kiss her, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, he was also smoking weed. You know, them kids are smoking the weed, Andy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That I didn't find that. Yeah. I didn't find that weird, but I did find like. Yeah.
Okay, we learn a lot about Andy on this podcast. Keep going.
But I did find it weird. Like, just I feel like the kiss kind of came out of nowhere. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm.
Hey, let me ask you a question. When's the last time you sat on a swing? Because they're sitting on these swings in the backyard. He's token up, you know, they're having a first and second kiss. And I found myself going, holy shit, I haven't been to a playground in a little while.
Yeah, the last time I was at a playground, I pushed a kid in a swing, but I haven't actually been in a swing for a long time. So
okay.
But no, this scene, though, leads us into our first, well, if you don't count the very beginning, it's kind of like our first kill scene, right?
Yeah.
So... yeah,
right, because Tamara's not dead, so.
So, yeah, this is pretty brutal with Russ's death, I have to say.
It is, and it's interesting because she's sitting there and she's feeling it, like she's having a good time. She likes Russ, but she feels like she hears her name being called from the house, and she goes into this house and she finds herself in almost this trance-like state, and there's like flashbacks of like Karen's death. Karan, I might be saying that wrong, but it's quite intense because we see not the monster, but we get the idea that the monster's coming because we see things moving on their own as if the monster is coming through the bushes, coming through the back gate, and we see Russ kind of look over his shoulder and he's in pure shock. And then Andy, man, when it flashes from her and she realizes what's happening and she hears Russ scream and we get back, tell me about what the fuck is going on with Russ?
He is just getting like twisted up in these swing chains, the chains for the swing, like they're like twisted up around his neck, and it's like, oh man, that's
his body is contorting in the air. It is horrific.
Yeah,
that's what weed does to you kids. Don't do it.
And then we see, he gets this bite on his neck, and then I think that's it for him. And I thought that then we kind of cut to the police being there, and we didn't really see a whole lot of. I figured the police were going to question Sam, and I think they do, but they don't really show it. They don't really go into that for the movie.
We spend more time with all the kids looking at her, and this sucks because she just told us earlier in the movie that she didn't want to be the weird kid, the one that everybody stares at, and now she's finding herself a victim of circumstance because of the situation she's in. But instead of spending a lot of time with the cops, I like that we're spending a lot of time with her and her parents.
Yeah, we get a scene after this that her parents are trying to talk to her, trying to get her to tell them what's going on, but she doesn't want to, so she kind of walks off again. And then finally she does kind of confide in her parents and her mom. She tells her mom what's happening, and her mom actually does try to help her. And so they kind of do some stuff to kind of try to bring the demon to them, I guess, right? Or they're trying to...
Yeah, and so she tells her mom, and her mom obviously is like, those are just stories. And she's like, Mom, I'm 100% on the real about this. I need you to believe me. And so you can see it in Sam's face. And then the mom believes in her, and the mom just gets up and is like, we got to cook it up because she knows that these demons feed. She's like, we don't have any meat, but we have everything else. And so they make a hell of a buffet to try to persuade this demon to leave them alone, eat the food, and be gone.
But and them doing that did actually probably save Joyce's life, because the teacher we see is at the school, and she calls Sam and she says, I can come over, let me help you. And Sam's like, fine, okay. And so she is, but she's still at the school. And so the Pashash comes there and starts attacking the teacher. But I think because Sam and her mom do this chant thing that kind of draws the Pistache back to their house. So it saves Joyce. But I think
it does. And dude, I mean, in the nick of time too, because the whole scene at the school with Joyce is another really tense moment. And I've always said I love horror movies that take place or at least have a big scene with schools, because we've all been to school. We can all identify with that public setting, and it just works because it brings it close to home. But dude, we just talked about this in our brief session 9 conversation. Whenever the lights in the hall are like turning on or off to signify you're being chased, it was done so well in this movie.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. The motion detection lights, where the lights come on, but there's nothing there, but you know there's something there. But
it's the fucking Pistache.
Yeah, so that was cool. I did enjoy that. That was pretty suspenseful.
Did you think the demon was going to get his eat on, though? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think this was going to work?
No, I didn't think that they were going to entice it with the vegetarian meal that they made.
Dude, that demon straight up came at them. The mom took a butcher knife, protected and shielded her daughter. She's like telling the Pistache to go in the kitchen and eat. We know it goes in there because the camera is the demon at this point, so we follow it. And he straight up flips that table. He's like, fuck this shit. I was like, oh, you wasted so much time.
Yeah, he took one look at that table and was like, nope. Psh, like, flips the table. But then, of course, talking about bad timing, wrong place, wrong time, the dad comes home. And then the Pistache goes and attacks him, too. And we think that he's actually dead, but he's not.
I hated this scene because I really liked the dad, but you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean... But, they spared him. He actually survived, and their mom got attacked a little bit too, I think. And then I think it took Sam, right, and like ran out of the house.
Yeah.
So we get kind of a little showdown back at Coran's house, at the old abandoned house that kind of everything is...
final countdown.
And then we get to see Sam and Tamira finally team up and become best friends once again and defeat evil, in a way.
Well, and it's important, Andy, because the mom said if you fight or try to face this Pistache alone, you will die. And so we see that on the surface because she does try, but she's losing, and she's losing fast. But when she gets her best friend back, the two are able to do it together. And I thought that was a really roundabout thing that they did.
Yeah, that was cool. They Tamira was able to kind of gather her strength up and do the chants with Sam. So that was a cool way for them to team up and become...
Did you predict the outcome?
Well, so...
Because the demon needs a vessel, Andy.
Needs a vessel, yeah. So I wasn't... She had a... What they had... Didn't Sam bring something, or she didn't? I forget.
Shit, I can't remember, dude.
Yeah, I can't remember now if she actually brought something or if she just had the... But she had the... They don't have anything, basically.
Let's just say she had a monster can, but it didn't work.
Yeah, so then she gets the idea from that drawing on the wall. She's going to be the vessel.
And you knew that was going to happen because Russ is like, is something going in or is something coming out? Oh, motherfucker, it's going in. And so I thought the effect was really good. And that's another thing. This monster looks really, really good. Really good. I was all about it.
It's kind of like it almost has like a alien type look to it, like the H.R. Geiger alien.
Right, but also mixed with a little bit of... like the New Age Godzilla, because it was like spikes all over its back. It looked really cool. Yeah. And it had the sharp claws, but even just the the practical and CGI that it took to make this monster, I wasn't mad at all, dude. It was totally good. Yeah, no, it blended in pretty well, I thought. So yeah, I mean, so she becomes the vessel, and I guess that's... The demon lives inside, get it? Yeah, and so then, we're kind of wondering, okay, so what's life going to be like for Sam? 1 year later. Yeah, So her family kind of knows about what's happened, and her parents are on board, I guess. And so they're having a little family dinner with Joyce and Tamira joining them. And so I guess now the ritual is they have to have Sam eat raw meat to appease to appease the Pistache, to keep it at bay inside of her. And then Tamira and Sam are walking down the street. Like, Tamira's going back home, and they're kind of... Tamira is worried about Sam, and Sam's like, don't worry about it, I'm fine, everything's good. The Pistache is never going to get out, it's going to stay inside me. But then she kind of turns around, you can tell that she's not okay. Right. Wasn't it so nice to see Tamira kind of like depressed and cleaned up and just happy with life. It gave me happy vibes, dude. But like you said, yeah, whenever Sam lets that tear fall from her eye, I was like, shit, we gonna get a sequel.
Yeah, they definitely left it open for a sequel, so we'll see if it happens. We'll see if the production company makes enough money for them to do a sequel. It
still lives inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do it. But Andy, we're at the end of the movie, man. I gotta ask you, the review, what did you think?
Yeah, man, I liked it. For me, it was a decent flick. It was fun. I was entertained for an hour and a half. I can see myself watching this from time to time. It's probably nothing I'm going to watch like every year or anything like that. But so for me, like as far as my skull rating, this is going to be 3 skulls out of 5.
Nice, dude. Well, as always, I'm higher on this movie than you, but I'm actually a lot higher. This is going to get 4.5 Screaming Skulls, 4.5 out of 5, dude. I love this movie. I watched it a second time just to show it to Julie because I wanted her to see it before hearing us talk about it. And I damn sure going to watch this again multiple times. And any of my friends that haven't seen it, I want to show it to them. I'm so engaged in multicultural stuff. I love international horror films. I thought this one was going to be in Hindi, and so it was kind of nice that it was in English because then I didn't have to read the subtitles as much. But on the flip side of that, it just opened my eyes a lot more to Hindi culture, and I want to see more films that that just deal with overseas stuff that I don't know anything about. And so just all the culture stuff that is on the surface of this movie, the movie itself, like just the story, the effects, the characters, the writing, Russ's fucking dimples, like it was all there for me. And so this is a near perfect horror film. I loved it, and it was a breath of fresh air. So yeah, I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5 Screaming Skulls. It's my own voice right there.
Awesome, man. That's cool. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. It sounds like you need to kind of get in some Bollywood flicks there.
Let's do it, man. Yeah. I love Aladdin. Come on, man. It was there from the beginning. I just got to dive deeper into the cultures of the world. And so going forward, man, I say let's keep doing what we're doing and let's mix in some healthy international films. And Bollywood could just very well be the shit that I'm missing, that I love.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Andy, this was my pick. I loved it so much, but another thing that I love is I love the socials, man. I love when screamers can reach out to us, and if this is the first episode you're listening to, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Andy and I love entertaining people, and we love to hear back from you. So we got a TikTok, we're on X, formerly known as Twitter. We got a Facebook page. We got Instagram. Whatever you do, come follow us. We're at Screaming Skull Pod, and I just put out a video not too long ago where I showed a little bit of my podcast setup, and so you guys will see that I definitely love Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it was just really cool to hear back from you. And we're kickstarting spooky season here. Halloween is upon us. We got some cool stuff planned, and we're taking listener requests too. So who's going to be the first one to ask for a movie to be reviewed?
Yeah, awesome, man. That would be definitely cool to hear from some of our screamers out there. And so that wraps up this episode. And until next time, I'm Abnormal Andy.
And I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And thanks for listening to the Screaming Skull Podcast.